because I was in lust, loneliness, and wanted leisure, wanted comfort. And the 3 L's will always lead you down the wrong path. Okay? The 3 L's, lust, loneliness, and leisure, will always lead you down the wrong path. You gotta build your relationships, even interpersonal relationships or professional relationships. You don't want to build it out of a need, okay? You want to have a foundation set. Now, needs, of course, you want needs fulfilled, and you want lust, you want those things fulfilled eventually, but that cannot be the foundational basis of how you set your relationship. Okay, it has to be set based off of strong principles, off of trust, off of foundation. Things that are strong, off of being able to be off of polarity. Relationships are built strong off of polarity. A lot of y'all think y'all want the same. You don't want the same. You want a compliment.
All 3 eyes, I keep my eyes open. If you can't stay strapped before you die smoking. All 3 eyes, I keep my eyes open. Ain't no competition, no guys chosen. All 3 eyes, I keep my eyes open. If you can't stay strapped before you die smoking. All 3 eyes, I keep my eyes open. Ain't no competition, no guys chosen.
Peace, love, life, balance. Welcome to Universoul Life Balance Universoul. I'm your host, Chief Jamal, coming to you. See the topic of the video. Let me get right into it. Why the build a man strategy? The build a man strategy. Let me get into what that is. It should be kind of self-explanatory. Let me get into what that is. Why the build a man strategy? Or build a woman, you can put it at that. But mainly I'm going to focus on the build a man strategy. That's the one you see more prevalent, even though it should be the other way around. Why the build a man strategy never works and never will work. Now, of course, there are exceptions to the rules, but for the most part, this never works out. We're going to get into why it does not. When I talk about the build a man strategy, I'm talking about when a woman gets a man. It's even though it can work both ways, build a woman strategy doesn't work, and I'll touch a little bit on that. But the main reason I want to touch on the build a man strategy, especially within the Black community, within the Latino community, those two communities, you see this strategy employed a lot, especially in the community, the so-called minority. The reason you see this strategy a lot is because there's a deficit in the marketplace for women. There's not enough men to really go around. And then, in general, then you talk about the qualifications or expectations. Then that makes it even worse because a lot of women have high expectations and high things. A lot of things they expect from men. And you get some women who go to the strategy of, well, since I can't exactly get what I want, since I can't find it already ready, maybe I'll get this guy and I'll build him up. I'll invest into him and build him up. Or what it may be, vice versa. And that strategy, ladies and men, if you allow that strategy, then you should not want to participate in that strategy. It's not a good strategy. And it does not work out. The reason being because that strategy is a direct conflict against the nature of men and the nature of women. The nature of men are to be the builders, to be the investors, to be the strengtheners. The nature of women are to be the nurturers and the receivers. That is even present in our bodily organs, where the man gives and the woman receives. So when we go against those things that are contrary to our nature, 9 times out of 10, you're going to get an undesirable result, even though it may start good. I'll tell you about myself, a situation with myself. I was in a situation where I had a very successful company at a young age, mid-20s. My company hit its peak. I was earning about I'm talking about after taxes, after everything, I was over $250,000 in income just for myself, not including what the company was bringing in. The company was bringing in a good $1 million or $2 million. I'm very young, being very successful. I got aligned with some people, had some bad things go on, had some chargebacks, and didn't understand money as well as I being young, you live and learn. And I ended up being in a situation where, fast forward, I was homeless. I was totally assed out. So I lost everything, and I was literally in the streets. Literally no vehicle, car. Both my vehicles repossessed. I'll kind of go into this whole story background because it's a separate issue. What I want to fast forward to is that I had encountered a female who was young, beautiful, and doing fairly well for herself. And even though I kept explaining to her, now let me get on my feet, she was forcing the issue, and she was very attractive. She was exactly how I wanted her, and as I wanted a woman to be. Young, very attractive, much even younger than me at that time. I was young. I was actually, when I met her, by this time I was in my late 20s, and it was hitting off, and she had talked me and convinced me into moving in with her, which was, as a man, you never do, never do this. But I ended up doing it. After months and months, I was like, you know what? Let me give it a shot. And what happens is, man, and women, you're never going to respect that man that moves in with you. You may think you are, you may do at the time, you may be okay with at the time, man, brothers, but you're not going to respect it because you start how you finish, and you finish how you start. If you come in with the woman as a man at a point of dependency where she's the provider, even if you switch that role, which I end up doing, I end up getting on my feet and getting back better than ever and doing fine. But the problem is you start how you finish. A woman's gonna always still see you at that initial point where y'all decided to go in at, because whatever advantage she saw at that point, even if she doesn't see you as a beta or whatever it may be, she's still gonna see that she's gonna still see you as that man in need. And a lot of times with women who allow that or are okay with that, they want the credit of building that man up, and they feel that man owes everything, even his manhood, even his independence as a man. She's gonna look at you somewhat as like she's your mother. She's gonna look at you like she's your mother, straight up and down. She's gonna look at like, I provided for you, not only my vagina, but nigga, resources, a roof, opportunity. Even though I was chipping in, I would never deal with it. Only thing that was provided really was the house. Everything else I was provided, I was either helping, paying bills. None of that matters. The tone was set that this is her house. So even though we moved out, it's still, the tone was already set. A bad tone was set. As a man, you should be buying a house. If you're gonna cohabitate, you should be buying a house, or she should be moving to your space. And as a man, that's how it should always grow. Trust me, no matter what a woman tells you, she prefers that. Even if she'll tell you that she doesn't like that, she prefers that. You understand that? Because she's not gonna ever respect you as the builder, as the architect. She's gonna always question your leadership. Even if you can be the best leader in the world, she's gonna always question you. Because in her mind, consciously and subconsciously, even if she agrees consciously, even if she doesn't see it like that consciously, in her mind subconsciously, her nature is hardwired to see the man as the provider, to see the man as the one who's setting the tone. So when you go against that as a man, understand that that's not important. And ladies, when you try to force that as a woman, you are not going to respect that man. Trust me, you're eventually not going to respect that man, because your nature is to see the man as the builder, as a provider, as the tone setter. I don't care even if you're a feminist and you think that what I'm saying is bullshit. Trust me, you can make up a different excuse all you want. The real reason it's gonna grow stale because you don't see that man as a man. And he could be a great man. So you gotta be. I'm not saying that this can be overcome. I'm not saying that if this happened like that, it can't turn into a good relationship. I'm just saying that the odds are highly stacked against you. You're in the 90 percentiles of failure. You're gonna have to make a real committed effort, a real truly committed effort to reverse this if you want to keep a relationship alive. If it start out like this, but trust me, the builder man, it never works. Another reason it never works is because a woman, like I said, she is by nature a receiver. So if she's giving men, the only way give yourself even a chance to overcoming that, you're gonna have to give back much more. You're gonna have to come back harder. You're gonna have to say, look, we're gonna get out this house and I'm gonna buy a house. You're gonna have to give much more. And even then, she's still gonna remember that first, because you start how you finish. It's gonna be a consistent effort. You're gonna have a lot of men complain about women never having this, and trust me, if you're in that situation, she's gonna be steadily looking onward. She's gonna be looking onward for the most part. She's not gonna really be cool with that, man. Even if she is, trust me, that's a lot of times when women agree to that, or they bring, it's their lust, it's loneliness, loneliness, and leisure. I call it the 3 L's. Mark this down. Lust, loneliness, and leisure. When women agree to take on a man and to try to build a man or support a man financially, even emotionally, which she's not supposed to do. A man not supposed to need emotional support from a woman. She's doing it out of lust, loneliness, and leisure. She wants to be comfortable. It's her lust, or she's lonely. It's not out of a good place. It's not out of her nature. So as a man, you have to be strong enough to tell her that, hey, listen, if it has potential, say, allow me to work up, allow me to bring, allow me to do this as a man. You have to put your foot down as a man and say that I need to be established. Even if I'm glad you got your own, I'm glad you're bringing something to the table. I appreciate that, baby, but I need to do this for me. And I had told her that, but I eventually buckled because I was in lust, loneliness, and wanted leisure and comfort. And the 3 L's will always lead you down the wrong path. Okay? The 3 L's, lust, loneliness, and leisure, will always lead you down the wrong path. You gotta build your relationships, even interpersonal relationships or professional relationships. You don't want to build it out of a need. Okay? You want to have a foundation set. Now, needs, of course, you want needs fulfilled, and you want those things fulfilled eventually. But that cannot be the foundational basis of how you set your relationship. Okay, it has to be set based off of strong principles, off of trust, off of foundation, things that are strong, off of being able to be. Off of polarity. Relationships are built strong off of polarity. A lot of y'all think y'all want the same. You don't want the same. You want a compliment. Okay? If you're aggressive, you don't want another aggressive person. If you're an alpha, you don't want another alpha person. If you're now, like I said, I keep telling y'all, there's no such thing as an alpha female. It's just women who have masculine traits. There's no such thing as an alpha. Alpha means seed, beginning. Okay? Do your research on it. Women don't have seed. Women are receivers. Stop saying I'm an alpha female. That's a female with masculine tendencies. Stop saying you're a man who touches your feminine side. You don't have a feminine side. That's just a dude that's just a man who's acquired bitch female women tendencies. I don't want to get too much into slander tongue because the word bitch, by the way, that ain't synonymous with men. These days more synonymous with men, unfortunately. Bitch don't necessarily mean a woman. Okay, a lot of men are bitches too. A lot of them, unfortunately. But we all have bitch tendencies. But we have strayed to a point in society where we have allowed ourselves to be put in these so-called equality boxes in this gynocentric system, to where we think that we can play these roles that we're not meant to play, and we get ourselves in trouble by that. Women, don't get so desperate to where you want to build a man. Now, I'm not saying sit back and have crazy ass expectations either, and all that. That's unrealistic. Where you gonna sit lonely. But you gotta have balance. You gotta get a man who's at least has a foundational set that you see that's going somewhere, and he has some tangible things he can show as a result, tangible work towards those destinations and those goals. And as a man, you have to have those. You want to be on your purpose. You don't never want to acquire a woman when you haven't figured out your purpose. And I made that mistake. I've gotten married and I haven't really knew my whole purpose, and that's a huge mistake. Because you got to have somewhere you can land and put your family. You got to have a destination spot as a man. If you don't have a destination, you're still trying to figure out you out making babies, trying to hey man, look, that's gonna cause you trouble. Trust me, I know from experience. It's a much better feeling when you have your destination already set. You can show, hey, I'm going here, baby. This is where I'm going. This is how I'm going to do it. This is how you fit in. That's what women want. I don't care what a woman tells you, man. She do not want to come and be your equal partner and figure shit out with you. That's bullshit. A woman does not want that. A woman does not want that. A woman wants you to be Michael Jordan. Alright? She want to be BJ Armstrong, Pippen, whatever, but she wants you to be Jordan, my dude. That's what a woman really wants. So with that being said, family, we're going to sign out. Peace. Love.